It's a beautiful morning and early spring bulbs like these Pasquinias are now popping up to give a lovely burst of colour in the early morning sunshine. And it's time to take a look through the garden and examine some of the plants that may not have fared so well in what seems to be a particularly long and cold winter. It seems to have been particularly sore on evergreens. And plants like this Japanese Andromeda here that's growing in a nice shelter position has sustained some damage, a little bit of tip burn to the edges of the leaves, but really nothing to worry about because as you see the growth is nice and healthy, and in fact it's beginning to flower, and in a week or so this will be in full flower. But others, like this poor old plant here that used to be growing underneath the tree until a storm blew the tree down, now it's in a wide open sunny spot with wind-driven frosty winds going through and drying it out, as you see, has really not fared too well at all. I'm pleased to see there's some healthy green foliage and healthy shoots further down the plant. This is clearly dead. The stem, when you scratch it, is brown and shows that really this has been killed. So with a pair of pruners you can go in and just trim off this material. It's dead anyway, so you might as well take it away and leave the young healthy growth to grow on and form a new plant. Also, since the circumstances have changed and this plant is no longer in the position that I intended it to be, maybe it's time to think about digging it up and giving it a ride in the wheelbarrow to a new and proper location. Now, it's natural for perennials like these hellebores that keep their leaves through the winter time to have some old brown foliage on them at this time of year. If you want to clean that up and cut away any of this old foliage and get back to having nice, fresh, clean looking plants, then of course you can do it. You don't have to do it, the plants will grow and be fine, but it just helps to clean up and make your bed look nice and fresh and colourful. And you can do exactly the same with things like these lily turf that are really not looking too sporty after the effects of the winter. But the plants are fine, they're nice and healthy, and in no time at all they'll be growing out to make nice healthy foliage and of course also a few flowers. So with these you can be a little bit more severe. Just trim back the old foliage with a rake, clean up the bed, and in no time at all you'll have a nice looking perennial border. And the same deal goes for things like these coral bells here that have old foliage that you can simply get in and pluck away or cut away, and as you see, lots of young healthy foliage coming through, so they'll be fine. But alas, it's not always the same story. Take a look at this gardenia here. It's not looking too sporty at all. It's clearly showing the effects of the prolonged and very cold winter. Lots of brown foliage, and when you look closely into the middle of the plant, there's some bark splitting going on. So it shows that this plant has really suffered a lot during the winter time. So what to do? Well, I'm going to leave it, because you know what? In all my years of gardening, I've always been amazed how resilient many plants are. And this plant has overwintered successfully now for 2 previous winters, but it may not be looking too good from this time onwards, but we're going to see. I suppose it all goes to show us that really when it comes to gardening, so much of what we do is all built around Mother Nature. She's always in control. We can use tools like the USDA hardiness map to guide us with the plants that are appropriate to grow in our area. But you know what? That's a guide. It's very good and very useful. But it's a guide that's been based over 30 years of average temperatures, not the lowest, the average. So we use it with some discretion. And you know what? There's no substitute for knowledge and experience. So I recommend you go along and speak with your local people right there in the garden centre. They know what grows very well in your neighbourhood. They'll be able to guide you with their best advice and help you become a little bit more successful in your gardening. This is David Wilson. Enjoy your gardening. It's good for us and it's very good for our environment too.
garden splendor, the plants worth remembering.